It took me years to talk about this, because even now, I still wake up at 3:17 a.m. My phone lights up. No alarm, no notifications. And before I wake up, I hear someone walking inside the house. This started in 2018, in a small town in northern England. I had just finished university and moved into an old house outside town because the rent was cheap. The agent only said it was a bit old. The first week was normal. The second week, I started hearing footsteps from upstairs at night. The problem was, the house had only one floor. I ignored it. Old houses make noise. Until the third week, when I watched a glass fall over by itself in the kitchen. That night, I woke up at 3:17 a.m. My eyes were closed, but I was awake. There was a whisper in the hallway. "We know you don't belong here." My heart was pounding. I couldn't move. The sound came closer. The bedroom door handle slowly moved down, but the door never opened. In the morning, there were wet footprints outside my door. There was no water inside the house. It hadn't rained. After that, I knew I wasn't alone. I stopped looking into mirrors. Every time I did, it felt like there was a shadow behind me. I researched the house. In 2003, a family lived there. A mother, a father, and their 7-year-old daughter. Neighbors said the girl talked to someone in her room at night. The parents said it was an imaginary friend. One night, neighbors woke up to screams. The parents were found dead in the living room. The girl was never found. The police report had one strange detail. 3:17 a.m. That night, I decided to leave. But before I did, I wanted answers. On the final night, I spoke back. "What do you want?" I shouted. A child's voice replied from the hallway. "You're in our room." That's when I realized it. I was sleeping in her bedroom. I felt breathing behind me, and the clock read 3:17 a.m. The first night was just the beginning. I thought leaving would solve everything, so I moved out, put miles between me and that house. I lived in different cities, tried to build a new life, but the unease followed me like a shadow. For months, it was the same routine. Every single night, at precisely 3:17 a.m., I'd be pulled back into a dream. I wasn't just dreaming. I was there, walking the dusty hallways of that old house, the floorboards groaning under my feet. And every time, the dream ended the same way, with the image of that unseen hand, cold and pale, slowly turning the door handle. It was a loop I couldn't escape. A memory burned into my mind. One day, scrolling aimlessly online, I saw it. A listing for my old house. It was up for sale. My heart jumped into my throat. What really caught my eye, though, was a strange line in the agent's description. It read, "The house is very old. Please be aware that some visitors have reported feeling uneasy on the premises." Uneasy. That was the understatement of the century. Curiosity, or maybe something darker, got the better of me. I had to know. I had to go back. This time, I came prepared. I wasn't going in blind. I brought a small arsenal of technology, high-definition cameras, sensitive audio recorders, motion detectors. I wasn't looking for a fight. I was looking for proof, evidence, something tangible to show myself I wasn't losing my mind. As I stepped back inside, the air was just as I remembered, heavy, still, and suffocating. It felt like walking into a vacuum. I meticulously set up the cameras in the hallway, the living room, and pointing directly at the door to that one particular bedroom. Then, I sat down and waited for the night to fall. As the hours ticked by, the silence in the house grew louder, more oppressive. Then, it happened. 3:17 a.m. My phone screen, which I was using as a monitor, lit up with a notification. Motion detected. My blood ran cold. Faint whispers, like the rustling of dry leaves, started echoing from the hallway. But this time, I didn't hide. I didn't scream. I just stared at the screen, my heart pounding against my ribs, watching. Later, when the sun was up and I felt brave enough, I reviewed the footage. It was terrifyingly anticlimactic. The camera showed an empty hallway. Nothing moved. No one was there. My hope for validation crumbled. Was I really just imagining it all? Then I replayed the clip, and I noticed something I'd missed. In the corner of the frame, a large, ornate mirror hung on the wall, and in its reflection, a face, a little girl's face. It was so clear, so real. I instinctively wanted to look away, but I was frozen. Her eyes were dark pools of sorrow, her expression achingly sad. As I stared, a voice whispered from my laptop speakers, distorted and faint, but unmistakable. "Why are you here?" It was her. I found myself trembling, whispering back to the empty room. "I want to know the truth." A profound realization washed over me in that moment. She wasn't just a ghost haunting a house. She was the house. She was woven into its very fabric, its foundation, its memory. And her sorrow, her presence, was a hook, drawing me deeper and deeper into her world, into her room. For the next several nights, I became obsessed. I watched the footage over and over. Every night at 3:17 a.m., the same thing would happen. The motion sensor would trigger. On the screen, I would see her. Sometimes she'd just appear in the room, a faint, translucent figure walking in circles. Other nights, I'd hear her soft, heartbreaking sobs coming through the audio recorder. But the worst was when she would just stand there in the middle of the room and stare directly into the camera lens. It felt like she was staring right through the screen into my soul. Every time our gazes met, my heart would seize, a cold dread washing over me. It was a connection I didn't understand and didn't want. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. The passive observation, the fear from a distance, it wasn't enough. I had to do something. I had to face her. Gathering every ounce of courage I had, I waited. When the clock struck 3:17 a.m. and the familiar chill filled the air, I stood up. My legs felt like lead, but I forced them to move. I walked down the hallway, my hand shaking as I reached for the cold brass doorknob of her room. I slowly pushed the door open. The air inside was freezing, and there she was. She stood in the center of the room, her back to me, facing the far wall where the paint was peeling. Her small frame was completely still. A quiet, ethereal voice filled the space. "They wanted me to be found?" she said, her voice laced with a sadness that felt ancient. Then she slowly turned around, her eyes, glistening with unshed tears, locked onto mine. In that instant, I understood. I wasn't the first. Everyone who had ever lived in this house, everyone who had felt that same unease, had been drawn into her story. They had all tried to find her, to understand her, to help her, and they had all failed. As she took a silent step towards me, a horrifying thought crystallized in my mind. I wasn't just a visitor anymore. I was a participant, and I was rapidly approaching the status of her final victim. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe for more chilling tales. Stay safe out there. After that night, I made a decision. I would solve the girl's secret and set her free. I started exploring the old belongings in the house. I opened an old chest under the child's room. Inside was a diary, the girl's diary. Pages yellowed, handwriting small and shaky. Will they find me? I am here, but scared. At 3:17, everyone will see me. On the last page, a drawing. Her room. She had marked one corner with a symbol exactly where my bed had been. I realized then she had chosen me. But why? Suddenly, the whole house shook. No wind, no doors closing, but cold breaths surrounded me. The girl appeared, this time fully, tears streaming. You found me, but will you set me free? Shaking, I pointed to the chest. With the diary, she slowly faded away, like a gentle breeze disappearing. 3:17 a.m. Everything was silent, but the house felt different. Since that day, whenever it's 3:17, I check my phone. Even if no light shows, I hear a whisper. Thank you. I realized then, some secrets can only be solved by those who wait. And this house is still waiting.